Over here is just humid.
Yeah.
It's just humid.
I need it to rain, honestly.
Over here is just noisy with cicada everywhere.
Cicada.
All right, if you guys can hear us, we are in the pre-show, about to start the show in 2 minutes. You just sharing some love, giving some love to the chat.
Live already. It looks like we're live.
All right,
Yeah.
nice.
It's like a cold open. It's not really a pre-show.
So
cold opens are always the best.
Gabe looks so sad to be back.
Yep. They got me back in the rat race. Just when I thought I was out, they got me back in.
Yeah. So you guys switch places. Carlito's out in the woods, and now Gabe is back at home.
Yo, for real. I'm having a hard time hearing right now. It's so loud.
Oh, wow. Those Georgia hills.
I'm like in the border with South Carolina right now.
Oh, okay, South Carolina.
Yeah, it needs to rain here. It's way too hot.
Yeah.
Way too. Every time it gets this hot, I think about all the people, like all the climate change deniers, and they're like, I don't feel it. Like, you feel it now? You feel it now? Because I do.
Yeah.
But then those same idiots, the one day it snows, they're like, oh, see, no climate change.
Yeah.
Can't stand those people.
All right, let's get started. I'm about to start the show. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is CaseStudyQB, and we are the political junkie back at it again. We got our guest, our main. I'm gonna stop calling her a guest because she's just family now. Imani Oakley is in the building. What's up? So let me go. Yeah, you know what? Say what's up to the people real quick, Imani.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Imani Oakley, again, visiting from Eyes on NJ News and Upfront Now. As you know, you can catch us on all of social media on our handle at Eyes on NJ or on the website at eyesonnj.org. And thanks for having me back.
Awesome. Gabe, how you feeling, my man?
Feeling depressed to be back into the capitalism. I thought I was out, but they pulled me back in.
Yep.
But some little good news. I cut my hair, in case for those who have seen me with the long ponytail for a year. We're actually going to donate it to children with hair loss. So for a lot of people do Locks of Love, but Locks of Love actually gives it to people with alopecia, which is, a great cause also. But my wife lost her father to cancer, so Children with Hair Loss does Children with Cancer. So because of that, my wife and daughters have been donating their hair for every couple years for the last 10 years. And then I joined them this year, thanks to the pandemic. And now I'm back to shortness. And that's it. And I wanted to highlight my shirt too. I got this one. So men of quality do not fear equality.
Nice.
So if you're a man out there, there's nothing to fear. If you are a good man, if you're a good person, then you should want everyone to be equal.
Awesome. That's the type of people we have on this show. You see the quality we bringing you guys. Much love, Gabe. All right, Izzy, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. Finally getting back to that vaccinated life. It feels good, New York reopening, everything coming back to normal again. So very happy about that.
I was in Manhattan by Canal Street yesterday, and man, I see a bunch of people without masks. They definitely out and about enjoying the weather.
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll definitely talk about the NYC mayoral race a little bit later on. Carlito, how you doing, my man? You out there camping in the woods? What's up,
man? Live and direct from Tougaloo State Park, northern Georgia, near the border of South Carolina. Nice. It's pouring rain right now. Y'all can't hear it thanks to the noise isolated mic. But they got thunderstorms going on, so I'm gonna be chilling in the tent over here with wifey.
Nice, man. Much appreciated to my man Carlito. He could have sit this one out, but he wants to be with the family, with the audience.
I wanted to show my shirt for Case though.
Oh no! I was waiting for. I was waiting for it in the pre-show to get it out your system.
You was hiding that one.
If he didn't say anything, I wouldn't say anything. But since you brought it up, I gotta say, hey, I give you guys a lot of respect for beating I was hoping, as a Knicks fan, I was hoping guys would get swept by the 76ers, but you won the first game, so I can't do nothing but, tip my hat to you guys. So good luck. But I still hope you lose because you guys beat my Knicks, but whatever. We'll see what's up.
Hey, we trying.
John.
New Yorker.
John, this guy.
What's up? Yo,
about
Easy.
To cancel you off for that shirt.
I'm wearing my shirt just for you today. Easy had a bad weekend.
Bad weekend. Why? What are you talking about? I don't know.
He's complaining about the amp. He complaining about everything. I'm just saying. I told him a couple weeks ago to worry about the Rays. He said the Rays who and laughed. So the Yankees are just struggling, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Oh Lord. Boom. All right. I'm gonna skip John. Let's go straight to the chat. Alan Ambrister, he says, hi, Imani, our man, Neat, a.k.a. Alan Ambrister, a.k.a. Neat. Who else we got in the chat? Indy Left, what's good? He says, good to see political junkies classing up Twitch. Much love, Indy Left News. Holly Horn, we got the Urban Progressive. Anybody else who I'm missing, let me know. But much love to the chat, and we're definitely going to go to you if you have questions. CMT Chris, CMT63, a.k.a. Chris, what's up? Much love to you. All right, so I'm going to go straight to the no calzones, let you guys know what's coming up. And, you know, we might not get to the last one, but we'll see what's up. First one is progressives running for office sometimes run into manufactured scandals that cause them to lose support from progressive groups. I have a solution that I'm going to talk about that hopefully can spread and it would solve this problem. The number two, when should an organization or a politician make an endorsement in a race? And I'm thinking about the New York City mayoral race. We always talk about how Bernie and AOC and all these prominent progressives should endorse early, like in the case of Charles Booker. But I'm going to kind of play devil's advocate and say maybe there is a reason why they wait so late. So we're going to talk about that. And then third one is, should billionaires exist? This is going to be interesting because we do have people on both sides. And then number four, how can progressives build their candidate bench? So we'll see if we can get to that. Now I'm going to go straight to the first trivia question. True or false? Sunrise Movement did their first protest targeting Biden at the White House since he entered the presidency last Friday. Did they do a protest? Is that true or is it false? Oh man. I thought I turned that off. Okay, no.
Music doing a protest right now.
Yeah, it's just popping up on me. So what you guys think, true or false?
False.
You can't protest Democrats when they're in power. That would just be using your voice. No.
I feel like they did something.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a
They probably endorsed Biden's climate plan.
But I feel like they did something else. So I'm going to go with true, but I'm not sure.
So the only correct person is Imani. Is true. Climate.
I said true.
Carlito, you don't matter, Carlito. You don't matter.
All right, Jesus,
you a Hawks fan.
He's mad at you. He's still mad at you.
Canceled. Yeah, my bad. Okay, so Carlito and Imani got it right. Climate progressives launched first action against Biden amid growing frustration. And this was a very interesting, I think I clipped something as well that showed them protesting. If I find it, I'll bring it up. But I was very proud to see that they were still being activists, because remember, they brought in the leader while Biden was campaigning, and he did that to a lot of progressives. He brought them into the fold, and they had various commissions that they were coming up with policy that he was supposed to be passing now, but as we see, we don't see a lot of legislation passing, unfortunately.
I mean, I don't know why they're complaining. Under the Biden plan, we'll have climate change solved by the year 3000. So, I mean, we should just be happy.
Gabriel, Joe Biden is the most progressive president in the history of this nation. Respect.
Ever.
Show your respect.
In quotation, Felipe.
Ever.
I mean, hey.
We got to focus on the midterms. They shouldn't be out here. We got to focus on the midterms are right around the corner. We got to, can't be questioning.
Let me stand up for Felipe and throw shade at the same time. This is true based on the platform, but that means we suck. Okay.
Yeah,
pretty much.
What I was about to say. Like, it's actually technically true, but like that's not nearly enough.
All right. So let me go to the next. Might as well knock out 2 trivia questions, and then we're going to go to Carlito's rundown. Who said socialism is to blame for the problems people are facing in Puerto Rico?
Green.
And we got Green, we got Nancy Pelosi, we got Debbie.
Yo, this is like a curveball right here. It's too obvious.
I like to give this one to you guys.
It's too obvious.
Pelosi.
Debbie.
I'm going to go with Debbie.
I'm going to go with Marjorie.
Yeah, Green.
That's the fastball on the plate is Marjorie.
Yeah.
But
I don't know if he's going to throw 2 in a row.
Watch it be Pelosi.
Oh, 2 fastballs down the pipe.
It's Marjorie.
Damn,
And
try to trick us.
basically, this was a response to AOC. She had a tweet basically blaming Trump for the issues that they were having, not getting the proper money after the hurricane in Puerto Rico. So I just want to play a little bit. Let me just know if you can hear this video.
Kind of attitude.
I think it's absolutely pathetic, and she constantly plays the victim. This is a woman who gets paid $174,000 a year. She is not married. She does not support a family. If her grandmother is living in squalor or having a hard time, she should be down there taking care of her. She should be paying for a place for her to live. She should be paying her bills and doing whatever she can to take care of her grandmother, because that's what people should do, is take care of your own family. But another thing she needs to realize is the government policies of Puerto Rico are the exact policies that she's trying to bring to the United States, which is socialism, and socialism fails. And that's why Puerto Rico went bankrupt already, just like Greece did, because of socialism. So this isn't President Trump's fault. This isn't anyone else's fault. This is socialist fault. And this is the policies that she wants with the Green New Deal. You see, AOC has no...
Marjorie, I'm sorry. That isn't, I mean, I don't know how many lies you could fit, or but not even lies, more like just uneducated comments you could fit in 1 second. It has nothing to do with socialism. It has to do with corruption in the government at a certain point of the Puerto Rican government and also the United States government. But there's such a history. We could do a whole episode on Puerto Rico, because you had laws that were signed that removed Puerto Rico's ability to declare bankruptcy. So as these debts were piling up, and as they were being allowed to take more and more debt, and the way that the debt payback was prioritized was legislated that Puerto Rico had to pay these debts before they even pay for school, before they even pay for public services. So when you look at how the public electricity grid failed, a lot of that was due to underfunding. Same thing when it comes to the schools that are failing over there is because of underfunding. So it's definitely not socialism. It is our U.S. government failing them, and also the Puerto Rican government having corruption as well. So there's a lot of issues there.
But really quick, do you see like how, like we always talk about this, it's like how insane and crazy Republicans are, but like you see how the question had nothing to do, like her answer had nothing to do with the question, and they go on Fox News and they just drive that message for their
Let me see.
audience of socialism. They want.
And it looks like we lost Case.
Are we still live? We're still on.
Yeah, I hope
I'm seeing us as frozen on YouTube.
Yeah, you guys are frozen, but I can hear you now. It just came back now that I can hear you.
Is YouTube still live?
We were rocking the boat too much. See?
Yeah, you see.
Rocking that boat too much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't say Republican.
It's that corruption.
As of right now, it's Zoom that's acting up, so I might have to close it and open it up. But I can hear you, so if they can hear you, okay, let's give it a couple minutes and continue talking. Let me see before I close it out and reopen it. Are you guys there? Oh, all right, let me just close it. All right, to the audience, please hold on.
Video only right now.
Yeah, we're all frozen.
Look,
I have a crazy frozen face too. That's
look what Alan said. Look what Alan said.
What he say? What he say?
He said, "Damn, John got canceled."
All right, we're still going.
It's Imani.
Man, don't hear us, so let's keep going. Let's keep going.
All right.
We will not be canceled by the YouTube algorithm.
Yo, go ahead, Gabe.
Anyway, that was basically it. If you all heard me the whole time.
Damn. Post them again. All right, guys. Just gonna zoom.
It was dumb money in Puerto Rico, but then harmful Puerto Rico to actually get the money back.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, I'm going to close Zoom and come back. I'll be right back.
No, keep going. We live. We keep going.
No, it on my end is still messing up. It just froze for like 2 minutes for some reason, and I'm now hearing you guys again. Like I stopped hearing you guys for a little while, so just give me 2 minutes, guys. In the chat, hold on one moment.
In the chat, we're gonna do questions in the chat.
Ooh, so Alan's asking for overtime. He said he got to make up this time.
Actually, I think we're back. I can see you guys moving.
Oh, I see us.
There you go.
Hey. Yeah, we're moving again. All right.
He said, Case, I hope you know this means overtime now.
Hey, if you're in the chat, normally, you know, we do this out of love, but send us some super chats so we can get Case a new computer. We gotta socialize the computer over there. He's using his 1992 compact, and we gotta get him something.
Maybe socialism.
See, it's frozen again.
I will match whatever super chats come in today. So if we get any super chats, I will match them towards the Case Computer Fund. Forward this to all the progressive people. Case, the progressive producer. Nice. We got to make sure he's good. And we look at frozen again.
Only if he's buying a Mac, though. Only if he's buying a Mac.
I mean, are there other computers that they sell?
I don't know. That's why he's having problems. He has another one.
This is the guy who can't run OBS.
On the
live. All right, you can't run OBS on your Mac.
Throw some questions in the chat while Case is playing around with his gateway computer.
Yeah, I'm going to close Zoom and come back. All right, I'll be right back.
Windows ME.
Fantastic. All right, guys. So much love to you. Thank you for holding up. Trying to bring everybody back. I think. Try this one more again.
In the chat, throw it in there. Your first computer. Mine was definitely.
I had a gateway.
Mine was a Dell. Wait, my first personal computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a link.
Fancy.
Mine was a clone like I usually do, but it had like a DX33, like a 33 megahertz processor, right, guys, or something like that.
We are back in the building. All right, folks. We are in here.
I got joked today, yo.
Let's continue.
We got a question. Thoughts on the New York mayor race, and we will get into that.
We will get into that.
First, let's go to Carlito's rundown.
Soon. We're gonna go straight to Carlito's rundown so we can keep the show moving, and we'll see how much overtime we can do. Go ahead, Carlito.
John, you can't just say, "Yo, look at this chat. I can't see right now. I'm on limited bandwidth, man. You gotta let me know what's going on."
My bad. You know, Alan just said, Case just won't give up on Vista. He's on the road today.
I love it.
You know, Holly Horn says she has an Android phone, which Gabe is about to cancel her.
Canceled.
And then she has thoughts on New York major race. And we're definitely gonna get onto that.
Yeah.
All right. Carlito. So let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
First story. Let's see. We're gonna go with Rhode Island coalition pushes most equitable legal cannabis regulations yet. Ahead of inevitable national legalization, Rhode Island activists urge the state to right the wrongs of the war on wrongs. Now, reading this article, I know that they're trying to one up New York. New York was saying like 40% of the profits they wanted to go towards communities that were affected by the drug on wars, but they also want to have co-ops, basically, so to make sure that it's not big corporations taking over and all the corporations basically making a profit of the cannabis. What you think about this, Imani?
Yeah, this is great. I mean, if we're not doing things to rectify the harm that was done, like we're basically doing nothing, just legalizing and not doing anything with regards to reparations, not doing anything with regards to dispensaries and ownership of people who were previously incarcerated, right? Like if we're not doing anything about that, because really, if you think about it, all those folks who were sent to prison for, you know, having weed, selling, etc., a lot of them would be considered entrepreneurs if it was another substance like liquor, right? They would just be considered entrepreneurs. So if we're not doing anything to make sure that that wrong is rectified, like we're not really doing anything at all. And truth be told, I mean, all these corporations and even political insiders. Like in New Jersey, the Marijuana Commission is basically almost entirely made up of political insiders, right? And that's a six-figure job. There are people making money off of this who are corporations, political insiders, and we need to make sure this is actually hitting the communities that were devastated by the war on drugs. That's the entire point behind this.
I wouldn't say we're not doing nothing though, because we definitely are enriching the rich. That is certainly one thing that we would accomplish by not helping out the folks that you mentioned. And then also, let's just keep in mind, I just wanted to say this, these things that are being proposed are from grassroots organizations, not by the government yet. There is no bill going down in Rhode Island right now that has these provisions in it. So we have to urge them to make sure that those provisions are in there, not, applaud them just yet.
100%.
Correct. All right, next story. Veterans mic cut when he speaks of Black people's role in Memorial Day creation. Event organizer turned down sound for part of speech. Speaker says he was censored by Hudson American Legion. So pretty much this, it's a white guy, a veteran of many years in the military since like 1965. He was talking about the history of Memorial Day. And he was saying something that I didn't know until recently, how the first Memorial Day was really freed slaves who got the bodies from the Union soldiers, that they were basically in a big, ditch, got them out so they could give them proper burials. And that was the first time they had like a real proper Memorial Day. And from then on, they had like a real declarations and blah, blah, blah. And of course, they try to hide it because, if anything makes Black people happy, they don't want to give them any credit for it. So, that's crazy. What you think about this, Izzy?
I just want to say, bless you, sweet white man. Yeah, if an atheist can bless anyone, I'm blessing this sweet white man. He was basically told to remove this part from his speech, and he didn't. So, props for that. Even when his mic was cut off, he thought, there was some kind of audio issue, but he just kept going anyway. Other mics were able to pick it up, and we have the video to prove it. So, that a lot of props to him. And also, just to note that the people who cut his mic off, the leaders of the American Legion of that chapter, they were both they were forced to resign. So good job, American Legion, on that too.
Yeah, and I think CMT 63 said they might lose their charter for that.
Yeah, that was another threat being thrown out there too. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to do it. Like, what do you lose from letting somebody talk? I mean, it's facts, it's history. It's not like they're saying, white people didn't celebrate it too. Like, what's the problem?
It's the snowflake feelings. That's what it is free speech, as long as it's a speech I agree with. That's what happens there.
All righty. Next story, as I close out tabs so I could have more bandwidth.
No worries.
The seminary built on slavery and Jim Crow labor has begun paying reparations. The Virginia Theological Seminary is giving cash to descendants of Black Americans who were forced to work there. The program is among the first of its kind. Now, the article, they couldn't confirm if they were actually the first, but I believe it's the first, because they're not just giving like scholarships to descendants, they're actually giving like cash money to people that they know are descendants from the workers from back in the day when they build the seminary, and they're looking for more in order to give them, annual stipends pretty much. So what you think about this?
Listen, I love it. Like, this is exactly what the government should be doing, actually. I'm glad that the seminary is taking the initiative, right? And giving, I believe it's $2,100 per year. And I'm not sure how many years that they said. I'm not sure if the article said, but $2,100 per year, that's a pretty good start for a seminary. And I'm also glad they're doing the research to find more folks who this would apply to. Now, imagine if the government put in their government resources and built a database to build out, figure out who are descendants of enslaved people in the United States. We could be well on our way to reparations. I mean, I think this is an excellent initiative. I want the government to take it on and use all the government resources that we have to really push this thing, because it's way past time.
Yeah, I think the article also said there's been 15 people so far, and they're definitely researching for more. So it's a good start.
I don't want to throw a huge wrench in this, but one thing that the article mentioned, which I found very intriguing, was that there was, he had, so there's one particular slave that they're trying to, repay the descendants of Mr. Dowling. They said that while he was black, obviously, his grandchildren identified themselves on official records as white, and so have their descendants. So that throws a very interesting wrench in this, where obviously a lot of these slaves had to, were forced to procreate with their slave owners and all that. When you start having people who identify as white and who look white and have grown up white, and they are still descendants, that's going to be very interesting to see how you handle that. So something to keep in mind. That's not really something we talk about a lot, but it is an interesting question and we might have to answer at some point.
Yeah. Not even like, slavery forced, let's just call it what it is, rape. Also talking about, during Jim Crow era and other eras like that, where people were quote unquote passing in order to get better jobs, etc., and then perhaps marrying white folks. You're right. That does get pretty sticky there.
100%, definitely.
All right, want to keep it short. We only got one more for this rundown. Private company takes over Puerto Rico power utility service. I mean, I really want to just show the tweet if you got it, Case. But that says it all. The government, United States government, made La Junta, which is basically they force unelected people to run the government of Puerto Rico and force that power utility to become privatized. And now their first bill after being privatized went up like 500%. So if you got the tweet, show it. It's crazy.
I'm showing it right now, Carlito. I'm showing it.
Yo, Gay, speak on it.
So I told you we get more into the Puerto Rico situation. So for those who don't know, I mean, I don't know how you don't know, but Puerto Rico was ravaged by Hurricane Maria. It was left in shambles. It already had a weak electrical infrastructure, and as it would happen in Puerto Rico, every 10 or 20 years you get one of those superstorms that would just wipe out the grid, and they go ahead and they rebuild the same wooden poles and run the same wires to the mountains, and you would think that they wouldn't. It's like insanity doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. This time around, we really had probably the best opportunity with Maria to rebuild the grid and make it sustainable and not just run again those same wooden poles with cables to the mountains like we did in the 1800s. But instead of taking the opportunity to install solar and upgrade, what a lot of people don't know is that when you take FEMA aid, you have to rebuild what was there. They don't give you the option to upgrade. What? So yeah, crazy. That's a thing. So because of that, they have to put back the same shoddy infrastructure instead of just paying a little bit more to invest in making this grid sustainable. Puerto Rico is one of the sunniest places in the world. It's very windy, so you could get wind power there as well. And it wouldn't take much to get that island to be sustainable. But now we get into this privatization. And where have we seen privatization of a service with no requirements, with no commitments to savings and no commitments to performance? It's very similar to the Affordable Care Act, where we had a privatization and we had no guarantees, no regulations. Really, that's what's happening right now. Is they've given over the public grid to this private company who said that they're going to invest all this money to bring the grid up to code, and they're guaranteeing on paper improvements, but when you look at the actual laws and things like that, they aren't really, there's no teeth in that's going to hold them to that if they don't deliver those things. So you can already see after a week of having that, there's been thousands of outages. There's been people saying that I'm trying to call, I can't even reach them, I can't even get a hold of anybody, I've been without power for a week. One person was like, I've been without power, which means I don't have water because the water pump's not working. So I've been without water for days. Damn. And things like that. And there's people trying online to register their outage, and they can't even report the outage. So on one side, if you look at the official account of the electricity company, you see like, oh, we're on it, we're doing this. But people are just saying that they can't even get in their complaint and can't even report their outage. So it's a shame that we have privatization in this sense. We know there's been a history of corruption in Puerto Rico, and this is another example of that, where it's not government corruption, but now it's being pushed to the private sector. And we're doing the same thing that we've seen fail in other places. If we give away the electricity grid, you know what, we already know what they're going to do. They're going to try to keep costs low, and they're going to try to make the maximum profit and keep the quality as low as possible. They're not incentivized to make a grid that is renewable because that would hurt them. So it just sucks that we're seeing this happen, and people in Puerto Rico that are already suffering, that never fully recovered, are just being taken advantage of like this. And I think in the future we'll do another Puerto Rico story, but go ahead.
CMT is asking in the chat, I don't know the answer to this. She's asking if the infrastructure bill covered territories.
It's a very good question. That I'm not sure of. I doubt it, because it's only a couple $billion. I would be surprised if it included territories.
And unfortunately, they don't have representation. They're getting taxation without representation over there. Unfortunately, we have Puerto Rico as a territory, and various other places.
Another thing I want to mention is I haven't read the book, but I think I've seen interviews. Her name is Naomi Klein. Book called Shock Doctrine, which is basically bad ideas, terrible ideas. You keep them alive through whatever means, either hedge funds or think tanks or whatever, waiting for opportunity for a calamity to strike so they could implement it. And Puerto Rico is a perfect example, because they wait for some kind of catastrophe or natural disaster or war in order for the capitalists to come in and basically strip the land of whatever resources are there. I think she wrote the book more originally about the Iraq War, and but it applies here. And in her interview, she's mentioned how it applies basically anywhere where there's something to exploit.
Yep, 100%. I just want to say real quick that whenever I think about Puerto Rico, I always think of the Jones Act, right? Which is act that forces it makes all the goods in Puerto Rico like 3 times more expensive, because it forces the ships that would bring all the material or all the goods has certain stipulations. So for example, it has to be U.S. ships. It can't be foreign ships that bring food and supplies to Puerto Rico, and a whole bunch of other things. This is one of the downsides of union, because I believe unions also promoted. So for example, when Trump was president and COVID was going on, they wanted to get a whole bunch of supplies, or I think it was when the hurricane was going on, they wanted to get water and a whole bunch of supplies there. But because the Jones Act was still in play, it had to be with the American ships. So even if you had foreign countries that wanted to send supplies to Puerto Rico, they couldn't do it because they were foreign ships.
Yeah, right? But there was something that could have been waived. That was something that could have been waived temporarily.
It could have been waived, but they didn't waive it, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, Puerto Rico's a colony. Like, they teach us in school, like, oh, it's a territory. It's different from a colony. But like, this is imperialism at work. This is colonialism at work. So it's tragic.
Totally. All right, are we good with this last story, Carlito?
Yeah, that was it for the musket fire. Awesome.
Let's get into the no call zone, no cancel zone. So this is going to be very interesting. So the first question, and this is just an idea that I have that I want to discuss. So this is almost like the think tank, if you guys remember back in the day. So progressives running for office sometimes run into manufactured scandals that cause them to lose support from progressive groups. So Alex Morse, that was a famous situation that happened where scandals came out that I don't have to get into it, but basically a whole bunch of progressive organizations dropped out of giving them their endorsement. Shahid Buttar also
over lies too. Alex Morse, it was all lies.
Exactly, it was all lies, and that's exactly what I'm addressing here, because Shahid Buttar, same thing happened. The DSA chapter in California dropped their endorsement, and then Scott Stringer, and yes, we could say we could question Scott's progressivism, but you had Jamal Bowman who endorsed him, and then when his scandals came out, Jamal Bowman unendorsed, and then it's coming out now that the accusations, the people, they're not as credible as originally thought. So this is my idea, guys. I call it the endorsement freeze, right? So as for all my progressives out there, if anything happens to somebody, let's say, God forbid, AOC, there's some man that came out was like, oh, AOC did such and such. We going to take away our endorsement? No, we'll say, okay, I'm freezing my endorsement for 7 to 14 days. What that's going to do, allow The Intercept, who our guy Ryan Grimm is an expert at digging into these situations and figuring out if it's credible or not. So you're doing an endorsement freeze to find out what's going on in the background. And then after that 7 or 14 day period, you can announce, okay, I'm unfreezing and I'm going to continue to endorse, or I'm unfreezing, I'm going to take away my endorsement because it turns out that it's a credible claim. What do you guys think about that?
I love it. Yeah. Absolutely. Because we're seeing from Republicans, when there's a scandal, they always say, well, we're going to wait and see where the facts end up. We're going to wait until there's some kind of investigation, whatever. They're not fast to pull endorsement from the worst people that they should pull it from. They still don't, because they for political reasons, they don't want to lose any power, and they don't want the person to lose their seats if it's somebody that's already in power. But Democrats are quick to throw somebody under the bus, and then even if later comes out that it wasn't true, or it was a lie, and the person didn't do anything wrong, it's too late. They already lost support, they already lost their race, so they lost their job. So I'm a total support of something like this.
100%. Anybody else?
First, I want to be clear. Well, two things. So first, I want to be clear. Ryan Grimm is he's a really good investigator, but an investigative journalist. But also, I mean, the article didn't necessarily clear Scott Stringer. It's not comparable to the Alex Moore situation. Alex Moore's situation, we found out that there were literally a bunch of young Dems who were trying to get an internship, and so they decided to try and ruin this guy's life for an internship. That was completely different than what this Intercept article is saying with regards to Scott Stringer's accuser, who simply had a prior relationship. And as we all know, consent can end at any time, and you can have a prior relationship with someone and they can still sexually assault you. So that's number one. But number two, I do think probably freezing it would be a good idea, because again, like in Alex Morris' situation, we saw a bunch of people drop off of that, and we saw kind of the hit back on that, and then it came out that some kid wanted an internship, and that's why he decided to try and ruin someone's life. So I really think that's a good idea to freeze it for a few days until we find out the facts, and then move from there.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel bad for Alex Morris, because that situation really a mess. From what I understand, when it first happened, he actually froze his own campaign to get himself together mentally, because he couldn't understand how these people were accusing him of what they accused him of, and even to the point where I was looking forward to him running again, because he's got name recognition now, and I'm sure people will want to vindicate him and the progressive movement over there, and he's not running again. It affected him that much. He's like, you know what, I'm just not going to run again, fortunately. All right. Anything else about this? Okay, we could move on to the next no-call zone then. And the next one is, when should an organization or politician make an endorsement in a race? And I think Holly Horn said people throw themselves behind candidates too fast. So she already thinks that maybe it's too fast. So let me set up this for a quick second. So we always complain. So for Charles Booker, for example, in Charles Booker's case, we always wish that AOC or Bernie Sanders would have gotten behind his race even a month earlier than they did, and he might have had a better chance at winning. So that's the situation we always said we want our progressives to jump in as early as they can. But here in New York City's race with Scott Stringer, Jamal Bowman, he endorsed, and other people endorsed Scott Stringer. And then AOC, we was waiting, when is AOC going to endorse? So she just endorsed Maya Wiley. So the question is, in this situation, did it help her to endorse late so that all the scandals, all the opposition research could come out on various candidates, and that she could pick the person who with the less amount of baggage and probably has the best chance to win? What do you guys think?
Really quick, who's monitoring the Twitch channel?
Yeah. We see you train. We're trying to keep up. So we're gonna.
Usually I'm on it, but I'm in the woods.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think they're asking some questions, and they're asking questions and saying, "Why are this Twitch channel?" They're trying to. They asking some questions not being read. So
yeah, but I saw a comment about the Republicans still believing in the big lie. I mean, what can we say about that? They're just too far gone, man.
Let me read the what Trey said. A majority of Republicans polled believe the 2020 election was rigged. although there's no evidence to support anything like that. That's put.
Yeah, this is, you know, every show out there covers this, pretty much a mainstream show. There's nothing we could do about those people, man. I mean, they know, everybody knows. So, yeah, there's nothing we could do about them. Yeah. The only people that could do something about it is the Republicans in power, but they just go along because they're afraid of them. Either afraid of losing, you know, their races to somebody that tries to dethrone them, or they are literally afraid for their well-being, because there's some of them that actually have to get like buy bulletproof vests because they're getting threats from those people that are crazy.
Yeah. Now, literally, what's the name? Liz Cheney came out and said that behind the scenes there were Republicans who went along with, Stop the Steal and not voting against Trump because they were afraid of their life. That she just came out with the interview with David Axelrod. So Carlito's absolutely right there. All right, so we're going to get back to the no-cow zone. When should an organization or politician endorse? What you guys think? Or, yeah.
But yeah, like sometimes I think, Holly said that they think they're throwing themselves too fast. Sometimes we think they don't do it fast enough, right? Like they don't. I think like these people have the research. They should be able to vet these candidates. Like there's no way that you're going to tell me that these candidates are going to sit there and be like, oh yeah, I don't have any skeleton in my closet. There's nothing to come up. Like they got to be some way of like that they doing that type of research before it. And and again, like it goes back, right? Like they go in and they automatically just take their endorsement away with it, just like, oh, because they don't want to be seen some type of way. But they tell us when he's for president, they're like, oh, we're just going to support that candidate. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, they're still, we believe this person, but we're still going to vote for that person. Let me come back at you real quick, John. But before I say that, I want to say shout out to Gamer for Life. I always see that person in Harlan's Media's chat. So much love to you. And so, John, so Scott Stringer, another accusation just recently came out, I think like maybe 3 or 4 days ago, with a woman said, I think he owns a restaurant, and she was a waitress, and he groped her while she was holding like food as he passed by. And this happened like 30 years ago, she said. So it's hard to vet certain things like that. Like a random, I'm not saying that her accusation is true or false, but like a random person 30 years ago, you know what I'm saying? So if that pops up, how can even an AOC or Bernie Sanders, with all their resources, I don't see how they could foresee that happening, you know? Yeah, that's true. But they also like shouldn't just like come out and be like, oh, we just taking our endorsement out. Like, yeah, mention like your idea, like freeze it. We're gonna let the facts, like something like, I'm disappointed to hear that. We're going to freeze our endorsement. We're going to let the fact in, but they automatically just go ahead and pull it out. And it's like, okay. And then you go in, you may or may not go and be like, oh yeah, this was facts or this was not facts. And whereas Republicans, they just don't care. They're like, yep, we're going to get our judge. We're going to get anybody we want. It doesn't matter. So
anyone else go ahead, Imani, go ahead.
Yeah. So two things. So one, I might be for once, the one that's like the oddball here. I actually think as far as endorsements from already sitting politicians comes, I think it should be within the last 6 months. Reason being, I had a mentor of mine who and he told me this, and I think it really does hold true, that campaigns don't really start to ramp up until the last 6 months. So I think within those last 6 months are probably the most advantageous time, because that's when you can really start getting that momentum. I think it's different for maybe organizations who should probably get in earlier, just so like the candidate can, have the money and everything. But as far as like individual politicians, I think last 6 months would be most advantageous. And the other thing is, I think people should endorse if they truly believe in what this person stands for, and from talking to them, et cetera, interacting with them, they think they would be a good candidate. What I'll say is, if something random comes out that they couldn't foresee, the game is the game. It's politics. Like you are 100% going to get hit one day in politics, right? Like whether it's something that's true, whether it's something that's like kind of true but paints it in a bad light, whether it's just a full lie, like you're going to get hit if you're in politics long enough. So the game is the game. Like you just gotta learn to hit back.
100%. All right. Anyone got the chat open? Want to go to the chat with anything? Let me see if Alan Ambrister said, think it shouldn't matter if a vote entity gives you their backing, because the individual leading the organization doesn't have to believe or work towards any of that in their private life. So the last one of my no-cow zone, I'm going to push it up. I'm going to save the should billionaires exist to the end, because I think it's relevant to what we're talking about. And the question is, how can progressive build their candidate bench, right? So that's something that, John, I was thinking about you when I was thinking about this just now, where progressives need to find some kind of infrastructure, some kind of system to build their bench, right? So, for example, at the federal level and at the lower level, and for example, the New York City mayoral race, I think at the very beginning, when everybody kind of announced, you had Andrew Yang and Maya Wiley and had Diane Morales, everybody, I read an article where they said the progressives didn't know who to get behind. And I was thinking, why didn't they already have somebody like in the wings waiting? Like, we know de Blasio, this is his last term. We could be planning for this for like 3 years in advance, 2 years in advance, whatever we needed. And my suggestion would be, you have the Working Families Party that's in New York City. You have different organizations, so Sunrise Movement, different organizations that are there. We need to find whoever's the president of Working Family Party, as long as they have progressive credentials and bona fides, and check, we should do an internal vetting of that person, put them up as to try to beat them mayoral race, like put them up as a candidate. Is it not that simple, Imani? I know you're like moving around in the activist community, or is it that complicated or no?
I think some people just don't want it, right? Okay. Like one of the problems I find is like, I meet a lot of people and I talk to them, I interact with them, they're so great. And I'm like, yo, you will be a bomb candidate, like immediately. And then they're like, oh no, I will never run for office, right? So I think it's just like a problem of people not wanting it, including like on the federal level, right? Like people just like don't want to do it.
But you know what, Imani,
politics that we ironically, today. So I think that's one problem. And then like, the other problem with building the bench on the progressive side is just the money, man. Like, we're working class folks. Like, we really don't have money to pour like that. To a lot of races. Like, we do it obviously for certain races, but it takes a while. It does, and it's a lot of money.
I didn't want to stop you, Imani, but I just wanted to throw in real quick that, ironically, Imani, the best people to run and be a politician and to be in office is those people that say, I don't want it. You know what I'm saying? Those people that say, I don't want the power, I don't want the hassle or to have to work with these greasy, because there's other greasy people that's already in politics. Those are the best people. Like Bernie Sanders, he didn't want to run when he ran. He wanted Elizabeth Warren to run. And he had to run, and he turned out to be somebody that pushed the progressive movement to a higher extent. And you could find a lot of different examples of that, of people who we're kind of forced. We got to find a way to force these people to like just run. I don't know what that is yet, but we'll come up with something.
I mean, people it takes a lot of time. People got full-time jobs and they got to come and start canvassing. Man, that's rough.
It's hard for middle class people to run. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, but it's also like, I think, we always talk about this in the show too. It's like progressive, we continue to kind of eat our own, right? We still don't know, like, when we have we know we have money problem, right? But then we will have like 4 or 5 people running for the same position, knowing that like maybe one of us will have a 20% chance, and we stay in the race so long that it affects the race, right? So we got to figure out ways to, like, the way that the Democrats do it, the way that the Republicans do it, like with Kentucky. I always talk about Kentucky race, right? Chuck Schumer got behind Amy before, 4 years before even like that race was up. Like, they already knew Amy was their candidate. Yeah. And we didn't know, like, Charles came in late. Obviously there was a lot of things that happened that helped him, but we have to come in as a movement first. And I think, we'll continue to divide ourselves. We know that the left is definitely divided. We're not in the same page. Like, you want some people that go completely to the left. You want some people that are still like here. So until we figure that out, it doesn't matter how many candidates we have, because we still have to we have to come up with like one movement and one message that's going to bring our base, because we know our base is strong, but it's all over the place right now. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah. We have teachers. Go ahead, Izzy. I didn't hear from you in a while. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we've also had conversations about like how to make the progressive movement stronger, and then we say things like, or some of us, not me, say things like, let's get all these organizations involved and this and that. Have lots of organizations that all pull for their own cause and this and that. So we can't have it both ways, right? We can't have it be like, oh, every organization, pull for their own cause, but then also we have to become like a centrist organization that's centrally managed and run and all that works like a well-oiled machine. It's one or the other, you know what I mean? So like progressives right now, we are very decentralized. We don't have a centralized message. We don't have a centralized organization like the DNC, like the RNC. We don't have a pool of funding we can all pull from, so the reality is what it is. Like, it's not like there's a Maya Wiley and Diane Morales and, CMT brought up Cynthia Nixon in the chat. It's not like they have all, there's one organization to go to and be like, hey, can we run? Am I a good candidate for this position? They all run based on what they believe. So, what are you supposed to do about that? We say we as progressives or we the movement, but what organization are we talking about when we say that,
Yeah, we just got, I said, like, yeah, it's not a simple answer, but what I'm saying is we got to figure out, like, what, because when you look at it, you have one organization that's all about climate change. You have one organization that is all about healthcare, whatever it is. So like we could find something that says, here's the umbrella. This organization will be part of it. Like if you believe in all these 5 or 6 different things, you could be one of our candidates, or they better. I don't know the answer. I'm just saying, you throw ideas out there. It's not like we're just going to throw something on the wall. It's going to stick. But we know right now what we're doing is not working.
We wish. I thought our revolution was supposed to be that. Our revolution, their mandate was to find progressives at all levels of government. And I think, unfortunately, they probably failed at that, or maybe I'm just expecting too much of that organization. You would have to be not a passive organization. You have to be an active organization where you're actively out there looking for candidates for specific positions. And it seems as of right now, they've become passive organizations where they wait for somebody to run and then they give their endorsement to that person instead of finding those people before they even announce. So.
Anyway. Another thing, speaking of, you saying our revolution reminded me, because there's a lot of levels, man. When you're talking about local government, a lot of those benches are built by people coming up from, the local municipalities up the ranks to, the states, and that's a lot of different offices. That's thousands and thousands of offices in each state. So it's hard for any one organization to really know every single race out there where they could find something. And and it kind of reminded me, because for some weird reason, my wife got a couple calls saying, hey, do you want to run for something? I don't know they even got their name from, but it's gotten to the point that, they just cold calling people to find somebody that wants to run for some seats. Wow. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But you know what though? I also think that's a little dangerous, because one of the reasons I think that we get so many progressives in one race is because people have gotten hip to the fact that, like, oh, this platform is the progressive platform. All I have to do is say that I'm for this stuff, and then boom, that's it. Like, I think what probably is a little bit more important than centralizing is looking at people's history. Like, does this person have a history of believing in these type of things? Does this person have a history of holding these values? Because anybody can just be like, oh, this platform is hot, let me take this. And when you get people who do that, but they don't have a history that shows that those are their true values.
But that's hard to know if it's like a first time, a first time candidate. You don't know what they stand for. This is the first time they're running for anything.
Find out. You can look at their job history, their volunteer history,
their Twitter,
their social media history. You can find out.
Interesting. All right. So I want to play this video just to switch it up. We're gonna do a react video real quick. All right, and I thought this was an interesting video that I clipped earlier today.
A decade ago, as you well know, it was then Vice President Biden who committed U.S. aid to the Northern Triangle region in hopes that it would stem migration. But since then, the problems have really only persisted. So what can the White House do differently this time, especially when it comes to U.S. aid money, to have a different or more meaningful result?
Well, Jeff, first of all, I think you have to recognize this is a long-term solution. You're not going to fix this in one visit or 1 year in terms of addressing root causes. You have to stick with it for several years. And part of what happened is we surged that assistance to Central America in 2014 when we had a wave of unaccompanied children. And then Trump came in a couple years later and like there's at least some process that they can plug into. So this is the beginning of, I think, what has to be a multi-year effort to begin to bend the curve in terms of migration flows.
Here we go.
Yeah, and it's a good point. We should also mention that the U.S. has to make up for what has been a century of U.S.-backed military coups. There has been corporate plundering. There's been, sapping of resources from the region that add to the poverty and instability there.
Woo! Hot fire! I was like, whoa. Oh, you can't.
MSNBC,
you can't say that.
He's fired.
I know.
If we don't see him on the show next week, he's gone.
He's got his pink slip. Yeah, man. I was like, wow, he's saying the quiet part out loud and proud. And I wonder if this is a new world that we live in after Trump. Like, are we getting these truth bombs like sporadically or something? Like, what's going on?
Yo, we are getting some of them, man. We're getting some of these truth, Palestine. We're getting, it's crazy, man. People are coming out the woodwork. I mean, it's not like it's even in the media coverage, but it's like more than I've seen before in the past.
Yeah. Somebody else was saying something before Carlito jumped in.
I was just saying that, he was basically like, all right, I appreciate your answer, dude, but you gave the wrong one. Here's what you should have said.
Yeah, he definitely put out the receipts.
Yeah.
Even Holly's in shock. She's like, he said that.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was talking about Big Neat, talking about AMC. Like, he said that it's index funds, son. Index funds. Don't play with that.
All right, let me do my last trivia question real quick. Let me bring it up bigger. So this is true or false. The SEC fires Republican audit watchdog after a push from Warren and Sanders. Is this true or is it false?
True.
False.
False. Gabe said false.
I don't know. I got no clue. I'll go
false.
I'll go with false.
False. Okay, the answer is...
Wait, let me change my answer to false. Imani said false, so she's always right.
Nope, she's wrong this time.
It's true.
It's true.
Yo,
That's what you get. That's what
Casey
you
just
get.
throwing fastballs down the middle today.
And I got it right.
I'm like, watch.
I got it right again.
This is from Politico, where the SEC fires Republican audit watchdog after a push from Warren. And this is what it says. The Securities Exchange Commission on Friday said it removed Trump-era appointee William I don't know how to pronounce that, as chair of the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, in a victory for Senators Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders days after they called for the audit watchdog's leadership to be fired. SEC commissioner voted to fire the guy, a former GOP Senate aide, in a closed meeting Thursday, the agency said. In a separate vote, commissioners named PCAOB board member Diane Disparte as acting chair. The move opened at a partisan rift at the SEC, with a agency's two Republican commissioners warning that their decision was hasty and unprecedented. Well, we got to get the Trumpies out of there, so I'm not mad at them. What you guys think?
Republican always crying foul.
Always crying. Yep.
Yeah, I got to give a props for this. I did not think that they did anything. So props there to Bernie and Snake for getting it done.
When is the Joy getting fired? He's still there in the post
Yeah,
office?
unfortunately, he is still there. Let me see. Here's the last Twitter question. Oh, Carlito, you want to say something?
Yeah, real quick. Let me say something now, because like the Joy, it was a. Let me see. Let me say this without spilling any beans, but somebody I know.
Okay.
They basically, because of the Joy and the way the post office is being run or whatever.
Yeah.
They were so slow getting some bills that they cut off the lights in a government office down here.
Oh wow. You serious? That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much specific office because I might.
Wow.
Was the one that got their lights cut?
I guess look for that on Twitter or something.
That's crazy. All right.
But it's all because they didn't get the bill in the mail.
So the government getting their bills, and there's people who get their medicine through the mail. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I don't get it. We should have been got rid of that guy. But from what I understand, it has to be a power move from Biden. And unfortunately, I don't think he has the stomach to do it right now. All right. Let's do the last trivia question for the day, for the night. Who asked the Labor Department to bar governors from prematurely ending supplementary unemployment payments tied to the pandemic. So you guys heard about those. I think it was like 13 states. Their governors said that they're going to stop the unemployment benefits from the federal government because, you know, the unemployment jobs was so low that they want to push people to get these whack jobs. So,
man,
who
I
you
want to
guys
say
think?
Richie Torres, but nah, I'm gonna go with Bernie.
Gonna go with Bernie?
Bernie,
He's the only
because it's
guy I
all
wanna say
fastballs
Richie.
today.
I'm gonna go with Jamal, but it could be Bernie. I'm Jamal or Bernie.
Definitely not Richie.
I'm gonna go Richie because every time he's on there, one of us got to say Richie.
Watch it be him.
So the answer is Bernie Sanders. So Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont had asked the Labor Department to bar governors from prematurely everything the question said. So yeah, but this is the reason why I brought this up was because who was the person or what position did Bernie try to get?
That's where I was going. I think I think now with what we got with the Senate, I think Bernie Sanders will probably be better as a labor secretary.
Yeah, so he was vying to become the labor secretary where he would probably have more power to do something. Actually, I don't know. Would he need the president to do something? But I think he would have some power to kind of force these governors. If I was him, if I was the government, I would just say, hey, let me give all the people who need it debit cards, and we're going to fill it with $300 a week or a month or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna do. Come on, especially these red states. That's crazy. They won't do that. They're complaining about right now how people with this $300.
Yeah,
they're complaining that they got too much money. That's why they're not taking a $7 an hour job.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
That's crazy, man.
They're trying to look out for all the corporations, man.
Yep.
In the overtime, I want to talk about my two main lessons of 2 months of van life. So
all right.
We'll
okay. Well, we got
it relates back to this.
Okay, it does. All right, because man, I didn't notice it's 9 o'clock already, but we're gonna go into overtime. Yeah, the time flew.
Lesson number 1: make sure you know where all the porta potty dumping stations are.
See, I wanted to. I would have normally
overtime.
Normally I would hold off this next no Kazon for next week, but I feel like I want Imani to be in on this. She might really want to be in on this Kazon conversation. So the last one for the night: should billionaires exist? Should citizens be taxed at 99% above 1 billion, or how should it be regulated? That's just one idea. So first, I'm gonna go with people who think billionaires should not exist.
Yeah, so billionaires should not exist. And billionaires really wouldn't exist if we had a proper minimum wage and we required that people be paid properly. They wouldn't exist if we had an estate tax. So all those folks who are inheriting money from their ancestors who were either they were advantaged by like redlining laws or advantaged by slavery, like their ancestors who had an advantage because of that passed down that stuff to them, and we need to be taxing those estates. We were doing that type of stuff, taxing Wall Street transactions as well. Like we were taxing the way we were supposed to be, and also making sure that people are paid a real living wage. There wouldn't be billionaires. And we obviously want those things. We need those things, not billionaires, but the taxes and fair wages. And so no, billionaires should not exist. I think this is an easy one.
I do not think I don't think there's a single billionaire that didn't become a billionaire without exploiting either a loophole or workers, one or the other, because they either exploited the people or most likely both, likely, because they either found some kind of way to distort the market, some kind of loophole where they got away with it, or they just have slave labor pretty much.
Oh, wait, so Allen has 1 billion Dash coin. So if he hits $1, Allen becomes a billionaire. Are you saying that we should tax him 99%?
Yes. Sorry, Allen. Yes. 100%. Yes.
So he put his money. He's put his money, right? He risked his money. So the money went to $1 billion, and then they should take 99% of that.
No, above. Case is saying above 99% above $1 billion. So, okay, you want to get to your little billion, fine. But then above that, first of all. Second of all, nobody's making $1 billion off of any kind of Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency. So you can forget about that.
But a lot of the billionaires, when you look at it, yes, they've done all the illegal, everything you can think of it. But a lot of it is based on the share price, right? Like Amazon shares are $3,000 a share?
Yeah, look at how Amazon exploits its workers.
Did you
No. I'm just giving you a whole bunch
of illegal stuff. Yeah, they're terrible people, but like they work hard. Like
no. I'm not defending them. What I'm telling you is that a lot of it is based on the share price, right? If Amazon share price will go to $2 tomorrow, Jeff Bezos is not a billionaire, right?
What was your point?
I don't know.
He's
got a lot of money right now.
That price through things like not paying people fair wages, not giving people proper health care. Like it gets to that, but because you're showing like your profit margin and your share, and you're getting your profits partially because you're not paying people or taking care of them in other ways with benefits. So it's not just like the share price just like magically becomes that. There's like other factors that go into it that really denote exploitation.
Go ahead, John.
No. I'm cool. Like, I was just giving examples. I just think, like, again,
John, can I say something real quick? Let me jump in real quick because you're bringing up the stock example, and it's something that notoriously happens when a company announces that they're laying off a whole bunch of people off their job. Their stock goes up, and that's because a whole bunch of people, they're thinking like, oh, okay, they're going to be making more money because they're getting rid of a lot of people at their job, and that might cause whoever owns the most stock to become a billionaire, but that's not a right way to become a billionaire. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I'm not saying, I'm not saying thing. I'm just thinking like when you look at the last 2 years, right, with the pandemic and anything that happens, it has become like, I'm not saying there's going to be billionaires and stuff, but the stock market for the retail investor has become very open, right? There been some retail investor that have become millionaires from investing in stocks, right? Where either crypto or, the AMC thing or the GameStop things that's happening, right? Like, government's trying to shut it down because we know about it. But let's say some of those people, right? They went ahead and became multi-billionaires, right? Millionaires. They got 200 million, so whatever. And they did something else to make it to $1 billion. So whether it's like what they did, invest in other companies or invest in something like, so you're saying that person, that retail investor took that opportunity. They didn't employ workers. They did all this other stuff. They just went ahead. Yeah, got some luck. Did this, some investing in some stocks and crypto and whatnot. I don't think that 99% of that should be taken.
But you're talking about probably 0.1%.
I'm just 1% because no. But what you're saying is no billionaire should assist whatever. It doesn't matter. We're talking about 1% or nothing. I'm just giving you a hypothetical, right? Because we always talked about, but what if, right? You have to what if. We know that the stock market has become open for a lot of retail investors. It could happen. It could not happen. But if we say, oh, it should never exist, so that person that did that happened, just that one person, still got to be like, it doesn't exist because that's just what it is. I'm just saying that's that. Like, I agreed with you guys. Like the way we are, all these people, yeah, they should tax them to whatever it is. But I just think a blanket statement of saying they shouldn't exist is like a lot. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with the blanket statement. And to add on top of it, it's not that it's going to change overnight, and I wouldn't want people to just lose all the money. But as far as the stock market is concerned, that's all crap. They're putting no value into the economy. They're doing nothing whatsoever to help anybody. All these people are doing like gambling and making money off transactions. They're not really, because in theory, you're supposed to invest into a company to help it grow and, put into capital, expand, blah, blah, blah. But in practice, it's a whole bunch of people moving bits and, and zeros around and making money out of it, just rent seeking and extracting money. They're not building anything. They're not doing anything to help anybody.
Yeah.
This also goes back.
Go ahead, Imani.
This also goes back to, what I was saying earlier about inheritance tax, because a lot of those folks, like on the stock market, it takes money to make money. So like if you buy one share or something, unless you hold it for like 99 years and inflation and all that, like it's not going to be worth that much. But if you buy like 10,000 shares of something and it goes up, like now you're making money. But in order to even get that initial investment, you have to already have money in your pocket. So first of all, most of those people are already well off and they don't need to be billionaires. But let's just say on the off chance there just as one person and they got $1 and they go and they put it in a penny stock and they become a billionaire, right? I'm sure that person is going to be equally as happy.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm sure
they could be.
They're a person who doesn't have money and then they just like end up with millions of dollars. I'm so sure they will be very happy and very okay with that, especially if they know that tax money was being put towards proper things. Yeah. Now that's a little sticky because we know that we put a lot of tax money towards things that don't matter, like war, things that we shouldn't have, but that's a different conversation. You know, assuming that we did put taxes to a good place, I'm sure those folks wouldn't be mad at that.
Go ahead, John. Last word before we move on.
Gabe got something to say. Gabe called me a Republican in the chat.
Well, no. I was going to say devil's advocate. I'm not against the idea of billionaires if I think somebody said it earlier that if every employee in the company is taken care of. And I don't mean $15 an hour. I mean, at a certain point, once it starts getting into your company value in the billions, then you should have like for example, that the one CEO Gravity Payments that he's paying his people minimum $70,000 a year. So your lowest person, your janitor should be caking, because if he doesn't clean the halls, you guys are going to be walking around in filth. You know, it's things like that. Like as low, quote unquote, of an employee as you have, everybody should be enjoying a portion of that company's success, whether it's through shares, whether it's through stock options, whether it's through equity, whatever you want to call it, whatever package they have, from the lowest paid person in the company to the highest paid should be incentivized and be receiving some of that, to the point where it probably would eliminate some billionaires. And not to say it would ban them, but I believe just in the power of the company. So if you're a capitalist and you believe in capitalism and what capitalism is, then the people in the company should also be able to benefit from that. How many times do we hear of companies, I know personally of companies whose stock doubled during the pandemic, and then they didn't give people annual reviews? So it's like, it's a pandemic. No, but the stock doubled. You know, I know personally of people that this happened to. So,
or their stock doubles and you continue buying off their website anytime you need something within a few hours or a couple of days, right, Gabe? That also, you may know some people like that too. I don't know.
All right. Let me jump in because I want to give. I'm sorry. I'm gonna John, I'm gonna give you the last. You seem like you really want to say something, but then I'm going to say one point, and then we're going to have Gabe say his last thing for the night, and then we're going to let Imani go because I don't know.
I want to say something.
Wait, just let me. Just I'm gonna piggyback up Gabe and sign it. I just like. For the record, I'm not a Republican. For the record, I did not have that kind of money.
No, you're not a Republican.
In the stock market.
You're not Felipe.
What I was saying is, I think what Gabe was mentioning is Mark Cuban was talking about that, right? Mark Cuban was saying, like, the companies you should invest in the employees. So if he makes $30,000 as general, he gets $30,000 a share. He gets, people get invested. Like, I don't know if he does it with his company or not, so I'm not sure like what he does or not. But like, if you're saying somebody does that and the company's doing well, and he's become a billionaire, and everybody can make good, decent wages, livable wages and stuff like that. I just don't think like people should get punished, right? Like, but that's just my theory on it. Like, there's a lot. They got to cut all those loopholes, all the illegal stuff that they have, and if they do make it that way, they may not be a billionaires. They may be zero billionaires because they took all that stuff away. But for whatever reason, somebody does become a billionaire, they shouldn't be punished by it if they follow every rules legally.
All right, Gabe.
I want to say, I'm going to jump in.
Go ahead.
Yo, shout out to CMT, first of all, for the super chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to Gabe for the match.
Yeah, matching super chats. Appreciate it.
And then 300 to 1.
Republican. Damn. It's getting fierce in the overtime.
There's been talk and articles about 300 to 1 max CEO to the lowest employee salary. So that's something that could be done in order to prevent. I mean, there's always loopholes, but if you keep salary 300 to 1, that's still like what, 3 million to 100,000, something like that. So they could still make plenty of money.
Japan does that, right? Japan does that, right? I think Japan is the one that kind of their CEO is like 300 or 500 to 1 or something like that.
No, I don't know, but I think that's a good idea.
All right, so I'm gonna keep it. Oh, you have one more thing, Carlito? One more thing?
Yeah, CMT in the chat says New Belgium Brewing gave stocks to all employees based on service and is now an employee-owned company.
Nice. So I just want to show this as my tax the rich segment of the week. A very sus chicken nugget shaped like an Among Us crewmate sells for $99,997 on eBay. Look at this chicken nugget. That's the most expensive chicken nugget you will ever see in your whole life.
Yo, my daughter showed me that. That's how crazy it is.
That's a catastrophe.
I wish I'd have thought of it first. I'm actually jealous. But anyway, Gabe.
If Billionaire didn't insist that chicken nugget was only be $9.99.
Exactly. Gabe, close us off with the show.
All right. We're going to try to make this quick. This is my 2 lessons of 2 months and a half living in a van. I learned 2 major life lessons. Number 1, it's a quick one. It's you don't need 95% of the stuff you have in your house to be happy. I, as somebody who is a big consumerist and gadgets and all this stuff, I have a house full of stuff, and literally 95, if not 99% of the stuff I don't need. And when I got back, I actually felt burdened because I'm looking around my house like, oh my God, there's so much stuff I got to clean. I got to do this. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is probably the most important, and it kind of relates to some stuff we were talking about earlier, is you can live in the country for free. You don't need a house. You don't need an apartment. And the way to do that is you have to, if you get a van or a camper or something like that, there's free public lands that are called BLM land. There are cities and towns throughout the country that have free municipal parks that you can park at for up to 14 days at a time for free with RV hookups and stuff like that. And you can travel the country on a minimal budget of just whatever it costs you for gas, car insurance, your car payment, which you probably have a car payment anyway, and food. And with that small budget, you eliminate your electricity bill because you have an RV that is self-contained with renewable energy, solar panels like I have. You get free water at gas stations, so you don't have a water bill. All these things, you can cut down your bills to maybe $1,000 a month, and that's living a luxurious life. So it's something they don't teach you in school. It's something that I never knew. And even going on this trip, I didn't know that. I thought I was going to spend all this money on campsites and stuff like that. And I literally was going from place to place and, there's another free spot. There's another free spot. And like legit spots that, are probably worth $50 a night, seeing mountains and things like that. So you can live for free. If you're a single person, if you're coming out of high school and you don't want to go and spend all this money, like just build a camper or RV and you can live for free. And you can see the world or see at least the country and have an awesome experience.
So I'm gonna keep it real and ask you a quick question. As a person of color, how comfortable did you feel out there?
I'll say there were only a couple times of uncomfort on the road. There was one Cracker Barrel that we stood at overnight. We stood at probably 10 over the course of the trip, but there was one that was super sus. So we actually drove away from that one and went to another one. Okay. And then just the race, there was some racism we experienced. It was more subtle. There were some places we would stop for gas and I'd be like, it's probably not a good place for me to stop for gas. You just feel like the vibe in the air, or specifically how people will treat you. Like we were at a national park and the ranger is talking to a white family in front of us and they're laughing it up and having a good old time. And when we walk up and we're like, hey, so what recommendation? He's like, what do you want? It's like the little things. So it's overall, I think for a person of color, and even as I would say I'm borderline. I mean, I'm not white, but I'm lighter skinned. So I would say it's much easier for me than it may be for other people. Yeah. But overall, I didn't have too much of those experiences. The great experiences way outnumbered any times where I felt like uncomfortable on the road.
Listen, Gabe, as soon as you start evangelizing this idea, it's going to get shut down because you already said dirty words. You said it's called BLM areas.
Black Lives Matter.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
That's it. Now we're demonetized. We said BLM.
Yeah, I know it's the Bureau of Land Management, but still.
Yeah, that's it. They just demonetized the stream. Yeah. Thank you all.
All right, so let's give some love to the chat. And Imani, I want to thank her for coming out. Give a shout out and thank you for spending overtime. You could have been gone by now, and I appreciate you spending a little bit more time with us. Give you a shout out, your unplug.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to come. Yeah, no. So everybody, as you know, you can catch me on Eyes on NJ News. We're on all social media on the handle at Eyes on NJ. You can also catch us on the website at eyesonnj.org. And my show is called Up Front Now.
Yeah, excellent. Let's give some love to the chat on our way out. We got our man Alan Amberster Neat, aka Neat. We got the person who gave us super chat was CMT63, I believe. Chris gave us a super chat. Who else we got in the chat?
And Bedon also gave us a super chat. Shout out to Bedon for the
Bedon,
super
thanks.
chat.
Yeah, for also being in the handling the Twitch in the background. Appreciate you, Bendone. Gabe, thanks for matching the super chats. My guy Gabe. And who else we got in here? All right. That's everybody. All right. Holly Horn, much love to you. All right, you can
Holly Gamer for Life. SF Thomas.
Yes, much love to you, my man. Or lady, I don't know what's your sex. But
let me tell you, we need to bring Imani back more often. They love her.
Ah, yeah.
Imani. The people love Imani.
She took Carlito's spot as the superstar. You see, every time she's here, Carlito's like,
yeah, I know you had your fingers crossed, hoping I couldn't get any signal out here.
Yeah, I didn't want to hear you talk about your Hawks. I didn't want to hear it.
Dude, Carlito missed one show, and the chat was like, "Oh, I miss Carlito." And so if Carlito ever misses a show, we just bring Imani and we're good.
We're good. All right, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and I appreciate that. And if you was here from the beginning to the end, then you definitely a political junkie right along with us. Much love to you. See you again next Monday. And men of quality do not fear equality. Men of quality do not fear equality. Yes. Much love to everybody. Adios. Peace.